The rescue that changed everything. The ambulance lights flashed red and blue in the darkening evening as Jamal dropped to his knees beside the woman lying motionless on the cold pavement. Blood seeped from a deep gash on her forehead, mixing with the rain that had just started to fall. Around them, the street was empty, except for the distant sound of sirens and the heavy breathing of the man who had just put his own future on hold. Jamal's heart pounded in his chest. His palms trembled as he pressed his jacket to her wound, trying to stop the bleeding. "Stay with me," he whispered, though he didn't know if she could hear him. The cold air bit at his skin, but all he felt was the urgency, the desperate need to keep her alive. Just hours ago, he was dressed sharply, walking into a small office building downtown for the most important job interview of his life. This was supposed to be the night that changed everything, a chance to escape the struggles he'd faced for years, the endless bills, the job rejections, the endless grinding. But then he heard the scream. A sharp, terrified cry broke through the quiet street, pulling Jamal's attention away from his own dreams. Without a second thought, he ran toward the sound. That's when he found her, a woman fallen and hurt, trapped between a dark alley and the road, bleeding and barely conscious. He couldn't walk away. His phone buzzed in his pocket, the screen lighting up with a reminder, interview in 10 minutes. But Jamal didn't care. All that mattered was the stranger beneath him, her life suddenly in his hands. "Help is coming," he said again, even though he wasn't sure if it was true. The night stretched on with agonizing slowness. Passers-by slowed but kept walking, eyes averted. Nobody stopped to help until the ambulance finally arrived. 2 paramedics rushed over, efficient and calm. Jamal gave them a quick rundown. Her injuries, how he found her, everything he could remember. As they carefully lifted the woman onto a stretcher, she stirred, weakly opening her eyes. Jamal caught a glimpse of confusion. Then something else, a flash of recognition. No, it couldn't be. She looked lost, scared, but strangely calm, almost like she was holding a secret. Before they wheeled her away, she reached out and grabbed Jamal's hand. Her fingers were cold, but her grip was firm. "Thank you," she whispered. "You don't know what you saved tonight." Jamal blinked, surprised by her words. "Who are you?" She only smiled faintly and said, "You'll find out soon enough." And, just like that, she was gone. The night air felt heavier now, thick with uncertainty. Jamal stood alone on the sidewalk, drenched and shaking. His phone buzzed again, missed calls, texts from the recruiter asking if he was coming. He didn't answer. His dreams had slipped through his fingers tonight, replaced by questions he couldn't ignore. Who was that woman? Why was she out there, alone and hurt? And why did she say those words? The next morning, Jamal's phone lit up with an email notification. The job interview was postponed. No explanation, just a new date. It was as if his entire world had paused. But Jamal couldn't stop thinking about the stranger. There was something about her, something beyond the blood and pain. Over the next few days, Jamal tried to return to normal life, but everything felt different. The interview was now a distant event on the calendar, but his mind kept drifting back to that night. One evening, while scrolling through his phone, he noticed a news alert. Local CEO hospitalized after late-night accident. The photo attached was grainy, but the woman looked familiar. It was her, the stranger from the street. The article mentioned her name, Isabel Grant. Jamal's breath caught. Isabel Grant, the CEO of one of the city's largest tech companies. A woman he'd only heard about in passing, surrounded by rumors and headlines. How had he ended up saving someone so out of his world? And why had she said he didn't know what he'd saved? Curiosity and doubt twisted inside him. Jamal felt an unfamiliar pull, a mixture of hope and fear. He wanted to know more, but also worried about what he might uncover. Was Isabel hiding something? Was she really in danger? Days later, Jamal was at the local coffee shop, staring at his phone when it buzzed with an unknown number. "Hello? Is this Jamal?" a calm female voice asked. "Yes, this is Isabel." "Grant." Jamal froze. The voice on the other end was clear but filled with an urgency he couldn't ignore. "Thank you for saving me," Isabel said. "I need your help. Things are not what they seem." Jamal swallowed hard. This was no longer just about a missed interview or a chance encounter on the street. Something bigger had begun. Cliffhanger. Before Jamal could respond, the line went dead. His heart raced. Who had called? Was it really Isabel? And what did she mean? Things are not what they seem. Secrets behind the CEO's mask. The phone lay silent on the table in front of Jamal. The call had ended abruptly. No explanation, no chance to ask a single question. He stared at the screen, heart still pounding. Had it really been Isabel Grant? The CEO he'd only seen in news articles. The woman whose life he'd saved on that rainy night. Things are not what they seem. The words echoed in his mind. Jamal wiped sweat from his brow. His life, which had been so steady in its unpredictability, suddenly felt like a story he was pulled into without warning. The missed interview, the moment that should have defined his future, now seemed like a doorway to something far more dangerous, far more complicated. Over the next few hours, Jamal's thoughts raced. Should he call her back? What if it was a prank, or worse, a trap, but something deeper inside him wouldn't let go? The way she had held his hand that night, the quiet strength in her voice, it told him this was real. He picked up the phone and dialed the number back. No answer. He left a message, his voice steady but urgent. "Isabel, this is Jamal. I'm here. Whatever you need, I want to help." Days passed with no reply. Jamal's world began to shift in unexpected ways. The tech company Isabel led, Grant Technologies, dominated headlines, but now they seemed darker, more mysterious. Rumors about internal conflicts, betrayals, and strange financial moves filled the business news. Jamal read everything he could find, trying to piece together who Isabel was beyond the CEO image. One article caught his eye. Grant Technologies, more divided over leadership. Sources claim shadowy power struggles. The story hinted at secrets, betrayals, and a possible scandal threatening the company's future. Jamal realized Isabel might be caught in something far bigger than just an accident. That evening, he sat in his small apartment scrolling through messages on his phone. His mind kept wandering back to Isabel's words. Suddenly, a new message popped up. Unknown number again. "Meet me. Tomorrow. 7 p.m. Riverside Park. Come alone." No name. Jamal's heart skipped a beat. Was this Isabel? Or someone else? The next day was a battle of nerves. Jamal couldn't focus on anything but the upcoming meeting. He thought about the missed interview again. Maybe fate had pushed him into this new path for a reason. When 7 p.m. came, Jamal stood under the flickering street lamps of Riverside Park. The air was cool, mist hanging low over the river. Minutes passed, then footsteps approached. A woman stepped. Out from the shadows, Isabel. Her face was pale, her eyes tired but fierce. "Jamal," she said quietly, "thank you for coming." He nodded, swallowing the lump in his throat. "What's going on, Isabel? Why did you reach out?" She looked around cautiously before speaking. "I didn't want to drag you into this," she said. "But I have no choice. My life, the company, it's all at risk." Jamal frowned. "What kind of risk?" She hesitated, then took a deep breath. "There's more to the accident than anyone knows. It wasn't random. Someone wanted to hurt me." Jamal's mind raced. Who would do that? Why? Isabel's eyes darkened. "That's what I'm trying to find out." She pulled out a small folder from her bag and handed it to him. Inside were photos, emails, and documents, all hinting at a conspiracy inside Grant Technologies. "It started months ago," she explained. "Strange financial transactions, Secret meetings, people disappearing from the company without explanation. Jamal scanned the papers, heart sinking. "This is serious," he said. Isabel nodded. "And I think someone on the board is behind it." As they talked, Jamal felt something shift inside him. This wasn't just a stranger anymore. This was a woman fighting to save everything she had built, and maybe her life. He knew he couldn't turn away. "I'll help you," he said. She looked surprised but grateful. The weeks that followed pulled Jamal deeper into Isabel's world. They met in secret, sharing discoveries and planning their next moves. But danger was never far. One night, after a meeting, Jamal noticed a car following him. He sped up, heart hammering. He lost it in traffic, but knew he wasn't safe. Isabel's warning rang in his ears. "They're watching." Back at the apartment, Jamal stared at the documents on the table. This was no longer just about a missed interview or a chance rescue. It was a fight for truth, for survival, and the stakes were higher than he could have imagined. Emotional moment one evening, Isabel confided in Jamal. "I never wanted to be CEO," she said softly. "My father built this company and I inherited his enemies. I'm just trying to keep it alive." Jamal saw the pain in her eyes, the loneliness behind the powerful facade. He realized how much they both had risked that night. The night he chose to help a stranger on the road, not knowing it would change both their lives forever. Shiu. Web tightens. The cold night air in Jamal's apartment felt heavier than usual. Isabel's words echoed in his mind. It's them. Who were they? What danger were they in? He watched her closely, trying to read the fear hidden beneath her composed exterior. "Who are they?" he finally asked. Isabel's voice dropped to a whisper. "The ones trying to take everything from me, from Grant Technologies. Powerful. People who won't stop until I'm gone." Jamal's heart pounded. He was in deeper than ever, and there was no turning back. For days after that chilling call, they kept low profiles. Meetings happened in quiet cafes, hidden corners, and sometimes through encrypted messages. Every interaction was laced with fear, the constant feeling that someone was watching, waiting to strike. One evening, as Jamal returned from one such meeting, he found a note slipped under his door. "Stop digging or you'll regret it." His hands trembled as he read the threat. Isabel had warned him, but this felt terrifyingly real now. He called Isabel immediately. "We need to be careful," she said, voice tight. "They're trying to scare us off." But neither of them knew how far they would go. The next morning, Jamal's phone buzzed again. A message from an unknown number. "Meet me. Midnight. The old warehouse by the docks. Come alone." The message sent a shock through him. Was this a trap or a chance to uncover the truth? Jamal debated all afternoon. Fear battled with determination. If he didn't go, he might lose the only chance to protect Isabel, and maybe himself. At midnight, wrapped in a jacket, he made his way to the docks. The warehouse loomed in the fog, shadows swallowing the light. He stepped inside. The air was thick with dust and cold. Suddenly a figure appeared, a man, face hidden in shadows. "Jamal," the man said, voice rough. "I'm Alex. I used to work for Grant Technologies." Jamal's pulse quickened. "Why did you call me here?" he asked. Alex's eyes darted nervously. "Because I want to help. I know what's really happening inside that company. And it's worse than you think." Alex told a story of betrayal, of stolen technology, secret deals, and a plot to oust Isabel. "Some on the board want to sell the company to a competitor," Alex said. "They don't care who gets hurt." Jamal's mind raced. The conspiracy was deeper than he imagined. As they talked, footsteps echoed behind Jamal. He spun around, two men in dark coats blocking the exit. "Looks like you're not leaving so easily," one said coldly. Jamal's heart hammered as the men advanced. Before he could react, Alex grabbed his arm. "Follow me!" he hissed. They darted through the maze of crates and shadows, heartbeats pounding. Jamal barely dared to breathe. Suddenly a door slammed shut behind them. They were trapped. In the tense silence, Alex pulled out a flash drive. "This has everything you need. Proof of the conspiracy." Jamal's eyes widened. "Get this to Isabel. She needs to know." But just as Alex spoke, the warehouse's lights flickered on. The men returned, guns drawn. "Drop it," one commanded. Jamal's mind screamed for a way out. Suddenly, sirens blared outside. The men hesitated. Jamal and Alex exchanged a quick glance. The police stormed in, flashing lights cutting through the dark. The men cursed and fled into the night. Jamal breathed deeply, clutching the flash drive. Alex nodded. "This isn't over, but you've got what you need." Back at Isabel's apartment, Jamal handed her the flash drive. Her hands shook as she plugged it into her laptop. Files, emails, and documents appeared, clear evidence of the board's treachery. Tears welled in her eyes. This could save the company, but just as hope stirred, Isabel's phone rang again. She answered cautiously. "Hello?" The voice on the other end was cold. "We know what you have. Stop now, or face the consequences." The call ended abruptly. Jamal and Isabel exchanged a look. The fight was far from over, but together they were ready to face whatever came next. Trust shattered. The cold night wrapped around Isabel's apartment like a cloak, but inside the air was thick with tension. Jamal sat close by, eyes flickering toward the window where a shadow had lingered just hours before. "Someone's watching," he whispered. Isabel nodded, her hands trembling as she closed her laptop. "They're closing in. We need a plan. Fast." The evidence on the flash drive was explosive. It revealed secret meetings between board members, offshore accounts, and plans to sell Grant Technologies to a rival company, all at the expense of loyal employees and Isabel's vision. But the deeper they dug, the more dangerous the truth became. In the days that followed, Isabel's phone rang relentlessly, threatening calls, silent breaths on the other end, and once, a chilling message. "We know your every move." Jamal stayed by her side, refusing to let fear break them. One evening, Isabel's trusted assistant Martin stopped by. "I'm worried about you both," he said quietly. "Things are heating up faster than we thought." Isabel glanced at Jamal. "Can we trust him?" Jamal shrugged. "We have to." Together, they planned their next steps. The goal: expose the traitors on the board publicly before they could silence Isabel, or worse. But as they worked, cracks began to show. One night, Jamal found Martin speaking quietly on the phone in a corner. "Everything is going as planned," Martin whispered. Jamal's heart froze. Later, he confronted Martin. "Who are you working for?" Martin's calm smile chilled him. "I'm protecting Isabel, in my own way." Jamal wasn't sure whether to believe him or fear him. The tension exploded during a board meeting Jamal secretly attended, disguised as a temp worker. The room was filled with cold eyes and sharper tongues. Isabel stood firm, presenting the evidence. But then a shocking betrayal. One of her closest allies, board member Richard, publicly accused her of fraud. "Your evidence is fabricated," he sneered. "This is a desperate attempt to save a sinking ship." Isabel's face fell, but she refused to back down. The room erupted into chaos. Jamal watched as friends turned foes, and the company he had come to believe in teetered on the brink. After the meeting, Isabel broke down in tears. "Why would they do this?" Jamal held her. "Because power corrupts, but we still have the truth." Then a new threat arrived, a mysterious package at Isabel's door. Inside, a photo of Jamal with a red circle around his head. The message was clear. "Stay away or he pays." Isabel's resolve hardened. "No more running," she said. "We fight." But Jamal's past caught up with him. A phone call from an old friend revealed someone from Jamal's neighborhood had been following him, connected to the same people threatening Isabel. The lines blurred. Who could Jamal trust? Who was part of the conspiracy? Emotional moment. Isabel and Jamal sat together one late night. Exhaustion and fear etched into their faces. "I never imagined my life would become this," Isabel whispered. "But meeting you, it's given me hope." Jamal reached for her hand. "We're not alone." Betrayal and revelation. The shattered remains of Isabel's office told a brutal story. Papers torn, computer smashed, and files that might have saved Grant Technologies. Gone. The note left behind burned into Isabel's mind like a scar. "This is your last warning." Jamal paced the room, restless and frustrated. "How can they be so bold? We're running out of time." Isabel's voice was steady but worn. "They want me broken, but I'm not finished yet." Despite the destruction, Isabel and Jamal refused to give up. They dug deeper into their backups, encrypted emails, and secret contacts. Every lead was a lifeline, yet with every step closer to the truth, the shadows surrounding them grew darker. One late afternoon, as Isabel met with a trusted journalist, Jamal's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Your secret is out. Be ready." Jamal's stomach twisted. What secret? Before he could warn Isabel, the journalist burst out of the cafe, eyes wide with panic. "They know who you are, Jamal," she said, breathless. "Your past, it's been exposed online." Jamal's heart sank. A flood of old headlines appeared. On his phone, ex-convict, failed job interviews, lost opportunities. The words stung like acid. Isabel grabbed his hand firmly. "They're trying to break you. To break us." Jamal nodded, fighting the shame that threatened to swallow him. The next day, the company held a press conference. Isabel stood before cameras and flashing lights, her voice strong but her eyes weary. "We will not be intimidated. The truth will come out." But behind the scenes, Isabel knew the real fight was far from over. That night, Jamal received an anonymous call. "Meet me if you want answers." Against Isabel's warnings, Jamal went. The meeting place was an abandoned park on the city's edge, fog thick and heavy. A figure stepped out, a woman, face shadowed. "I'm Lila," she said softly. "I worked with Martin." Jamal's heart thudded. "Martin, what does he want?" Lila's eyes were filled with regret. "He's a pawn, but there's someone higher up, someone pulling strings, someone close to Isabel." Jamal's mind reeled. Could Isabel's trusted inner circle be compromised? Lila handed him a file. Photos, recordings and documents revealing a secret alliance between Martin and Richard, the board member who accused Isabel. They planned to sabotage Isabel. "From the start," Lila said, "to take control." Jamal's blood ran cold. He raced back to Isabel, breathless and desperate. "Isabel, I'm sorry," he said, voice breaking. "Someone close to you betrayed you. Martin and Richard, they're working together." Isabel's face twisted in shock and pain. They confronted Martin the next day. His calm demeanor cracked under the weight of the accusations. "I did what I had to," he said coldly. "For the company's future." Isabel felt the sting of betrayal deep. "How could you?" she whispered. "We trusted you." Martin smiled bitterly. "Trust is a luxury you can't afford in this game." With Martin exposed, Isabel's allies rallied, but the cost was high, the wounds cut deep. Emotional moment. That night, Jamal and Isabel sat together, battered but unbroken. "Sometimes," Isabel said softly, "the people we trust the most are the ones who hurt us the deepest." Jamal squeezed her hand. "But it's not the end." The truth unveiled. Redemption and new beginnings. Black car waited silently outside Isabel's apartment as the city lights flickered. Jamal and Isabel exchanged a look heavy with exhaustion and determination. "We can't run anymore," Isabel said. "It's time to face them." Inside, the atmosphere was tense. The threats, betrayals, and secrets had pushed them to the edge. But Isabel's spirit was unbroken. Her team gathered quietly, ready to take their final step. Isabel's plan was bold. Reveal everything at the company's annual shareholders meeting, live-streamed and public. The world would see the truth unfold in real time. Jamal and Isabel worked through the night, organizing documents, recording testimonies, and preparing a powerful presentation. But just as dawn broke, an unexpected visitor arrived. Richard. He stepped inside Isabel's apartment, face pale and voice shaking. "I want to talk." Isabel stared at him, fury and confusion battling inside her. "Why?" "After everything?" Richard swallowed hard. "I'm done lying. There's more going on than you realize. The real mastermind isn't me or Martin." Jamal's eyes narrowed. "Who, then?" Richard took a deep breath. "It's someone at the very top, someone who's been using all of us." The revelation stunned Isabel. For the first time, the conspiracy seemed bigger, darker, and more personal. Together they pieced the puzzle, a shadowy figure manipulating the board and threatening Isabel's life to gain control of the company and erase anyone who opposed them. As the shareholders' meeting began, Isabel's heart pounded. The room was packed, cameras rolling, and millions watching online. She stepped up to the podium, hands steady. "Today," Isabel began, "I'm here to reveal the truth. The truth about corruption, betrayal, and the price of power." She laid out the evidence, emails, recordings, photos, proof of the deep-rooted conspiracy. The crowd gasped as Isabel exposed not just Richard and Martin, but also the hidden figure, the CEO's silent partner, someone everyone had trusted blindly. Suddenly, the lights flickered. A hush fell. Then a surprise witness appeared, Lila the whistleblower. Her testimony confirmed every detail, igniting shockwaves. The truth was out. The corrupt board members were arrested. Grant Technologies was saved. Emotional resolution later. In the quiet of her apartment, Isabel and Jamal sat together, reflecting on the storm they'd survived. "Everything we lost. It was worth this moment," Isabel said softly. Jamal nodded. "We found more than justice. We found ourselves." The lesson: sometimes losing everything is the only way to discover who you really are and what you're truly capable of. The story closed on a hopeful note, with Isabel leading the company into a new era, one built on trust, transparency, and resilience. Jamal found purpose not just in the fight, but in love and partnership. The end.